It's Fun Time Friday! And you know what that means, Fun Time Friday. It's Friday, and we intend on having some fun. It's not complicated, folks. Here we go! Okay, hi everybody. Bing bong! Okay, so today's page is from a suggestion by Joe. And yeah, Joe's he's a funny guy. I met him recently, and he's got this fantastic, perspective on everything. But when he suggested this, he said, "Boy and his robot," so intensely. I can't resist those ones. So I had a fun time doing this page. It worked out pretty well. And I did it yesterday in the stream using a Fudenosuke pen, as well as some ink washes, and then I got all digital up in this piece, just because I wanted to switch things around and play a little bit by merging the two a little more. Corbin, you got anything to add to that? No. Corbin's keeping it on the DL today. Huh? DL. District of LaGuardia. I got nothing. I don't know. So this is a fun page. I wanted to do it like a news report. Play with the idea of merging the traditional drawing and the digital imagery as being different types of media presenting the case. No resolutions, because the resolutions are up to you with good stories. So, right? So, makes sense? All right, first off, hello from Las Vegas. It's Mr. Jim Luhan. Hello, Jim. Hello, everybody in the theater. Jim's probably on stage performing one of his hit songs, like from the movie Titanic. Might be mixing Jim up with somebody else. I hope everybody's having a good day. Jim, I hope you're having a good time in Las Vegas. Or Las Vegas, as we pronounce it in Canada. Okay, so today's page is this one, and there's all kinds of different elements in it. It was good fun in the sun to do. Yeah! Paper towel. Yeah, good stuff. Okay. So let's get the overhead up. I've got one of the last roll-off pages. I've realized that one of the things I'm going to need to do, possibly tonight, Corbin is very intensely set on things today. Do you see yourself for a second? Looking bugger. Huh? Okay, so one of the things that we've got set up for this weekend is if grandkids come over, we're going to do some jelly plating and have some fun with it. Yesterday was a good, fun, exciting day for me. I got some new shirts, and I got a cool, want to see my cool cup? Don't be jealous. Look at this business. It's pumpkin shaped because I like to drink pumpkin spice decaf tea. It works well. So I got that yesterday. And then I got this, and I want to show you guys this in the stream. This is the Art of the Movie book from the original Spider-Man. And I picked this up when the film came out, and really enjoyed it. It was it's got all kinds of things that sort of open up my mind. And when you find a good art book that can raise your awareness to larger approaches of how we attempt our work, this is one that really, I think, is going to change a lot, because it's incorporating so many different elements. One of the things that's always existed in the inking process of creating sequential art is people will take a razor and make slash marks in the inked pages to simulate rain. They've actually done it in this movie to try to simulate that effect. Amongst a bazillion others, a lot of attention was paid to the art stylings of Bill Sienkiewicz in this sucker. So, anyways, this is the new movie. This is the first book. This is what I got for yesterday, because of reason. And but this is the first book, and again, it incorporates all kinds of elements in here that some of these things are cutting edge approaches to animation, and other things are callbacks to pre-existing things in animation. But one of the definite things that they did is really pay attention to some of the different approaches that people have made towards illustrating a character. And if you haven't seen these films, go and see them. Get them on DVD, rent them off of whatever streaming thing. I don't know. I don't care. But, and sit down and watch them and see past what it is. Like, see, if you don't want to do superhero movies, then don't. But it's not, the primary focus of this thing isn't about superhero movie. The primary focus of this thing is about pushing the bounds of animation, if you ask me, and telling a fantastic story in the course of doing so about a young person finding identity. So look at the way the city's layered and overlapping. That's a fantastic technique. And then you've got, I'm going to try to find a good example. Here we go. As he swings by the television set, that's right, television set, even though it's a gigantic, big screen, whatever, that's what I'm going to call it. And you can see the pixelation happening because of this proximity to it. But the fact that they day-glow dot things and incorporate that into the art, because of the fact that they overlap values instead of drawing distinct breakdowns of the building, they're clearly just overlaying color and cutouts. And stuff like that is phenomenal. But here's a good example, and I'm hoping it's going to pick up now without too much glare. You see the dots in here? See the overlays and the dots and stuff like that? That's like incorporating sequential art from the 1940s, 1950s. It's like looking at Roy Lichtenstein's paintings, which emulates those, by the way, and incorporating that into the composition. You can see how it becomes elements of the city itself and the clouds themselves into the sky. It defies the artificiality of an animated project, you know, by doing its best to depict things in some recognizable or associative sense, but at the same time, it absolutely embraces it by making these fantastic artificial approaches in identifiable ways, just to really push farther into what it is in and of itself. And you can see more and more textures of these. I'm not going to go through the whole book. I just wanted to show you this. So this is the one from the first film, and really fantastically dynamic wraparound cover. And the actual proper fold cover that goes around it is a poster on my wall right now. I didn't realize that it was a fantastic, complete cityscape view that when you take it off, it's similar to this. Okay, and let me give me a sec. So you can see how all of these spider people falling out of this hole in the city, falling down along the environment of the city after our principal character. Well, that's what the cover is, the wraparound cover is for the first volume. And very similar to that, except for it's just a cityscape and our main character in repose. So anyhow, this is just more and more and more. And I don't want to spoil everything, but you can just see, just from flipping through as quickly as I am, the absolute array of approaches with digital art in order to tell a phenomenal story. Phenomenal story. Okay, so let's see, what do I got? I thought I was going to pick one out. Oh, okay, let's do this one. Two hipster cops and comics. We'll put that up in over here. I'm paraphrasing a little bit here. And then salty. There's Salty's suggestion for today. Wow, Jim's in Vegas. We got people joining in and hanging out. This is good fun. Another thing I'm going to be doing a little more of is doing some more rolling off onto the pages in sketchbooks. And so that I can do more of this, where I'm illustrating stories directly in the sketchbook, because I like the idea that I can do this on the go. And it doesn't, it allows me to move around and get stuff done. And so I'm going to do some more printing like this. you know, some just beyond doodling, so that I can do some finished stuff in the book. Okay, most of my books are notes, you know, things like this, you know. That's right, I doodle during church. Anyways, so yeah, 2 hipster cops appearing in different comics. Okay, that's our idea for today. Thank you to Malk Salty Snacks for suggesting it. It's super cool. I'm going to work on this cardstock that has rolled colors on it from a brayer off. That's what it's called. And what that is that when you're printing jelly-plated paper, and jelly-plated pages is stuff like I've done one recently, haven't I? Oh, I have. That was more recent than this. Boy, I put things in the pile, you know? This is the, yeah, no, I can't find a bird. That way. Let's go this way. Okay, here's one. Here is a jelly-plated paper with some images on it that I started drawing something else on. And, you know, despite the images that are there, I'll try to incorporate some of those different things and those different aspects into the composition as I'm laying it out. But at the same time, I'm not beholden to that. It's just a fantastic level of complexity I'm adding to the images in general, and having stuff in it and in behind and around them, etc. So when you're doing these and you're printing these off and you're putting acrylic on a jelly plate, laying images down, trying to transfer said images, you want to make sure that there's only X amount of material, paint material on that plate. So you'll take the brayer that you rolled it out with, and you'll roll it out onto a different sheet of paper. And that's where you get a brayer off from. But what I really like, and I'll see how much we can pick up. Okay. Oh, it's getting lots. You see the wonderful little textures that start to form in here because of the layers of the very thinly applied acrylics that are down on here. It's just a piece of white cardstock, but with this, and as you're going through these different values, and if you don't hang up yourself about, well, I need a lot of black, and I need a lot of, don't think about the colors. Just brayer off. Just take it, whatever colors from whatever multiple things you've got going on. You know, if you're printing X amount of jelly-plated images, have 2 or 3 brayer offs going, because eventually you'll find some opportunities. Do I have any more kicking around in here? Yeah, there's another one. Here's another one. You can see the different value system entirely, but look at some of these fantastically fun textures that you get. You know, so they're not, it's sort of like a rigid, just a rigid surface of granulation, but what it looks like is all kinds of fantastic pre-established things. Let's say you draw, let's use this page. Why don't we use this page to start off with? Okay. I'm going to flip it around. No, I'm going to go this way. I like this way. All right, so let's draw our 2 cops, our 2 police officers that are appearing amongst a bunch of different stories. So let's see what shows up. You're going to show up on here, but are you going to show up on there? It looks like you can see it. So let's draw with this. So one of the things that we can do is to just sort of start off by allowing ourselves to just explore an introduction to our story. And a fun way that we can do that is by just engaging in some visual element of our story. And so because we know that the parameters of this suggestion are 2 hipster cops appearing across different comics. Now, you know, now that I think about it, having shown you the Spider-Man thing, maybe that's my connection to this. Having shown you these Spider-Verse books, which I'm really excited to go through tonight, maybe this is what this reminds me of contextually. You know, well, let's let's take a look. Let's see what we can find. So let's put down, is that showing? There's a mark. You can see a mark. It's very exciting. So we're just going to draw a couple of officers that are on the scene. And so rather than directly introducing our principles, which is something I do at times, another thing that I like to do is to introduce the broader narrative, the world itself. So let's have a couple of other cops chatting and yucking it up. And so we can establish a tone for a piece through them. And we'll have these two cops, there you go, you can see the hat, talk about, you know who's assigned to this case, huh? Who's that? Such and such and so and so. And we'll come up with their names in a minute. If anybody has any suggestions for names, let me know. It's Friday, folks. Have people got fun plans for Friday? Unending amounts of excitement planned. Actually, Lori and I are going to go to a lovely town nearby here where we went last year. We went there last year on my birthday and started doing some Christmas shopping. We got a lot of our Christmas shopping done on that day. And so we're going to go there on Sunday and take a look around because there's all kinds of really cool artisan shops. There's a pottery studio there. There's an independent bookstore there. There's a chocolatier there. It's artisans in this town, and so you want to keep that going. So off we go, and away we go. All right, so let's put a smile on this face. Oh, for heaven's sake, stop it. So let's have our two introduced characters yucking it up. So I'm going to put some let's see if this makes them. Oh, look at that. So what I've done is I'm drawing in a ballpoint. I'm using green for whatever. And so what I've done is I've taken this, not very good pencil crayon, and I'm lightly going over the area that I've drawn so you can start to see some of the elements that I'm putting down come out a little better for yourselves. I can see them, but, we're in this together. Does anybody got any fancy things going on this weekend? And if so, what, why, and where? Oh, yeah. It's in my pocket. Just checking. I have a sensor in my arm that tells me where I'm at. So it's good. It's good stuff. Today's listening of choice is 80s pop and rock music. I don't know what's wrong with me today. But I keep having to fast forward through things because, how many times is one single person expected to listen to the Bangles in their life? So I'm putting down. So what I'll do is I'll grab this pencil crayon case and I'll pursue this approach as we go through. And I've got these various different pencil crayons. And so we'll, as we draw our environment and characters within it, like I've pulled the face up with the white, I'll continue doing it like that with different colors. We'll see how far this goes, how effective this is. It's just trying different things, right? Right, Chris. Thank you. Corbin, you have anything to add? Nothing. I like to give them the opportunity, I don't want to feel like his contributions aren't valid. So we got so here's our first. Excuse me. Let's use a green. Just different amounts of pressure makes different strengths in the values of the marks we're putting down, and allows us to explore, the color in our image. And we'll put some details in that. So let's cross the arms of our character here. One arm goes under. That's the secret. One goes under, one goes over. And both tuck inside. And then both, work together like that. It's forever when I was a young guy to try to figure out how to draw arms. It's seriously, one of the most complex things I found in drawing is that or latticing fingers together, right? Like that. Okay, so let's put some more of the shapes and marks. My voice is coming back, but it's still a little crunchy. Okay, so here's our first. I can use a deeper blue and I'll show it. It's not as exciting. We'll just use the two together. So I'm drawing on a ballpoint pen on a brayered off piece of paper, going over top of it with pencil grime. That's today. Is a much better pencil. Get some of those little details in here. Yellow. Yeah. It's a weird little palette I have here, but just random colors I picked out, threw in a container. See what it gives me. There we go. It's coming together. So I'll hold this up just to get an idea of where we're going with things here. So here's our first of two officers. And these two officers are going to go. Did you hear who's assigned in this case? No, who? Bobby Lou and Betty Lee. I don't know. So I'm just putting the second officer in with the hat. Again, it's not about being exact. It's not about it being a perfect rendition of whatever we might refer to, for our images, or having to be the most exact piece of sequential art anyone has ever seen. We're telling a story, and that's our principal interest. So if you know, and part of the thing about defining your own style is just to allowing yourself to lean into it and to recognize that, you know, however you draw it, as long as you're drawing it in your own way, it's going to be uniquely yours. It's going to be something that the next person can't do. So I'm just moving this in here, trying to replicate the badge that I put on the other person, but bunching up their uniform a little more so than the first one. So when I listen to music, I have a habit of thumping my foot around. So that's why I have to take my shoes off before I stream, because I realize it just sounds like clicking the whole time. So if you've heard that in the past, I apologize. Many apologies to you. What do we got? Salty says, ooh, the conspiracy grows around the hipster caps. Yeah. No, I don't have any visual representations of the hipster cups, so we're going to figure them out as we go and make up our own hipster cups. I've had two cups in a story of my own. I introduced two cups of one of the issues of the Elmwood series in that larger environment. Didn't work out for them. That never does. So this cop is on their phone as they're, you know, having to stand around and wait for whatever with the hipster cops. Excuse me. Fill in more of this person's form. Different heights makes it more fun. So let's get into put down some of these colors for their outfits. Let's shake it up. No subtlety there. Somebody's definitely just slacking on the job. So I'm putting this light blue down first rather than the dark blue, but we'll bring that in as well. Put a little yellow in that device they're holding. So, you know, small little movements, small little steps, and we're building up our introduction to our story. And all we've done is put down the basic drawings in a pen and then just started following through with with the color over top. And because the color isn't going to go down into the crevices of the pen, as we just lightly feather it over top, then you're going to get these wonderful little divides in the value. You know, and then we'll get into highlights and so on and so forth as we go. Just do a little bit of it for you now, though. So I don't have names for our officers as yet, if anybody has. ideas, any suggestions that they want to make. Now we got to get all the kit and caboodle that they have on their belts. Hopefully you can see some of that. Yeah, I think so. But we'll pop it up in a second just by putting some value in there. So there's our first. Let's get in here with the second one. Add some more complexity to it. Can't have these people standing there on guard without all of their fufura. One of the things that I would do in some of my early books is that I forget about all these different elements that exist on these characters. And I realized as I get better and better about drawing stories is that sometimes some of those implements that they carry on define their character and define their person. So it's important to try to make sure we have some kind of inclusion of that on the illustration. But again, like I said, don't get overly concerned about having to have every detail that ever existed. Just do what you can. So I'm finding a cutoff line around here just because it's a good spot. I just want a little bit more, a nice little cutoff space there so that I can get in the fact that this person is slouching on a vehicle. We'll put a vehicle in here. And then we'll have a pillar or post of some kind dividing the two of them. Okay, so let's go back in. Start to define these forms a little bit more. So it's a different approach to other ones that I've done this week, but it's not entirely so far removed as just trying to apply a couple of different mediums together. So, and seeing what we can find in that. So I'm going to go to that deeper navy blue. Oh, before I do that, excuse me, I'm going to drink in one sec. All these little buttons, latches, and doodads. Let's make sure we get those colored before we go in. The dark value around them. I need a drink. We're all pretty quiet today. That's all right. So here we are with the really light application of this Laurentian navy blue. Very granular. Sorry, my voice is finally coming back, but in the course of doing so, it's had me coughing all day. So instead of using a black, I'm using this deep blue. And I can see it comes out in the camera, so that's good. And then we'll come in with the pants, the pantalon. That watch in there. Excuse me. I apologize for all the coffee today. We'll go in with this 314 color. Hey, pencil crayon companies, write the names on things, would you? So now I'm going to come in a couple of different values and see if I can get this to pop up. I'm going to do some hits with this orange and see if I can bring up a little more definition in the face, and then I'll do the same with the white. See if I can get some more defining shapes in the
in the police officer's face. A little bit of something. Some on the top of the arm. We're just trying to give a little form to our two characters. Now I'm applying the white on our character of color a little lighter, because I don't want to push as much reflection in the skin, because it's not the values of people's skin changes how we reflect light. So important to work out learn how cheekbones work on people too. Pardon me. There we go. I think the grandkids will be coming by to this weekend, now that Grandpa's recovered enough from that cold to catch another one. So I can put this dark blue over top of the light blue now. Hold it up, because we've got a surface value there. So you can see how that background of that brared off piece of paper, it gives wonderful little subtle undertones in our drawing. Like you can see the orange peeking through right here on the shoulder. That's good. I like that. But I'm going to draw over this image with little regard to concern about the background at all. And we're going to go out over the bleed edge too, because why not? Why not incorporate all of those elements that we can into our page? And then we also get to utilize, the differentiation of this tone to that tone. And, it's fun in the sun. All the kids are doing it. So we'll get these pieces of detail in here. Come in there. Now, because I put this darker value in here, it really allows this light blue to stand on its own. And the light blue undertone that we've laid down up here really does work as, enhancements now. It really does, work as push values as opposed to being the primary. What I mean by that is that we're highlights. I've got to put the dark blue in this one, I recognize. I don't have it. Oh, I do have a light gray. Yeah, you know what? Not good enough. Let's do this. This is a very, very sky blue light. But if we use it sparingly, it works like a very light gray. Pardon me. Corbett's like, cough too much, Jack. I'm out of here. So the pen that I've drawn in our piece with is what I'm using as the black. So it's not. It's just a complementary to the underlying red that's here, which is why I chose the green. Anybody hazard a guess what I just put in there? We got people joining. I'm not paying attention. Oh, hi, Dan. Welcome aboard. I did the piece yesterday of the chicken in space, and Dan made my brain explode with a comment that he made about make me start thinking that, this would be a fantastic way to adapt Alien. It's a random chicken on a spaceship with a bunch of astronauts. because they could, they could do a whole bunch of different scenes that, replicate the movie, like, excuse me, where they find the skin and they hold the skin up, the dermis of the alien as it's shoved that off to grow larger. But you could do that with the chicken spacesuit. Like there's just so many. Or we keep finding feathers everywhere, sir. What makes one wonder if the chicken should get bigger and the thing like that. It's just, anyways, it makes your brain, it was a fun comment, and it makes your brain start going, oh, you can do this and do this and do this. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But it'd be a fun way to do a spoof. Come on up. What's the matter? Just sit down and hang out. Lori went to her mom's, and Corbin got really upset. He kept running around the house and crying, and had me come all the way upstairs to show me the front door, to show me she went out that way. He's just been, because she's also been sick this week. She's been home all week. So when she left the house, she's like, what's going on? Which is generally how I am as well. What's going on at any given moment? So we're just putting in some background elements. And again, pressure on the pencil crayons gives us different values, different little emphasis values. I'm glad I could help, Bella. Oh, that's good fun. I mean, that kind of thinking, Dan, you should be writing things down. I wish I had like a cobalt blue. Oh, you're nerding out when you get to the point, you know the difference of blues by color. Nope. No, thank you. Come on, get down. But I want to draw the picture. So I'm going to put a light gray through here in the belt just to make it pop a little bit more off of the pants. I don't know how much that's coming through, but that's your side. That's your side. Corbin Evans got to figure out you're the one that does all the drawing. I'm just your human puppet. So I got a red here. I'm going to put some red into those shadows. Give it a little bit of life. There we go. Where are we at? Oh, okay. If anybody has anything, any ideas or comments or anything they want to say. So here's the tools I've been using so far. Hey, Corbin. So it's just one green pen on top of a, pardon me, a brayered off page. And we're just, as we draw in the image, we're going over it with a bunch of pencil crayon colors and pulling up the colors of the objects as we go along. Not too complicated today. Oh, we meant to put some highlights in here. Oh, I know what I didn't do. The darker value in this police officer's outfit. Deeper blue. Do I have a twisted gift, Christopher? Yes, you have a twisted gift. It's important that we explore these ideas and thoughts and these creative notions that we have, because people, if not you, who? Right? Everybody has the facility for self-expression. Everybody has the facility for storytelling. It really is just picking up a tool to do it and having the gumption to go, yeah, I can write the best fart jokes on paper. I'm in. So I don't know how much the tones and the blends are coming in, but put them in as we go. Corbin's choosing the colors that I use. Hey. This is really how I work most of the time. Is Corbin helping? Don't you? And I listen to Duran Duran while I'm doing it. Not always Duran Duran. Sometimes it's Rage Against the Machine or Johnny Cash or Claudette or Corbet or what's it? I can't remember what it is. I was listening to her the other day. She's the lady that sings the song in the Party movie with Peter Sellers, a French lady. Who, spoiler alert, went on to kill her husband. Craziness, but murder. Nobody expected her guilty of murder. So, in order to push the composition in the back a little farther away, I'm going to start using less heavy lines. And Dan says, I think Corbin enjoys the vapors off the pens. Well, there's only one ballpoint pen, so it's not going to get a lot out of that. Is that what you're after, you crazy cat? So it's a limited palette that I've been using. But it's making for a nice complexity in the background. City scene here. I think I might have to shake it up though when I get off of the underlying value. What do you think, Corbin? Just keep at it, you human monkey. So I keep all my pencils. Whoops! I keep all the pencils in my hand like this, and I'm just constantly drawing one or another out from them. And keep it there if that helps people see. All right. Dan says, "You want to hear a funny cop story?" I don't know what Dan's voice sounds like, so that's my Dan voice right now. You want to hear a funny cop story? Hey, muchacho. Let's hear it, Dan. What do you got? I think Dan's doing a lot of typing. Excuse me. Corbin, at the very least, you could draw some of this. All right, well, my stepdad worked on Harbor Patrol in Seattle. See, I've done the wrong voice then. All right, good start. One time they had a man's sailboat flip on its side. Ooh, that's not good. Was he in it? All right, I'll wait. I'm sorry. It's probably for the big reveal, Corbin. One time they had a man's sailboat flip on its side. You should do a stream where we just have nonstop stories with people. That's a really fun way to go about things. Oh, we got more. Excuse me. So they came up on the sailboat. My dad told his partner to tie up and drag it with the boat to harbor. Is there any protocol to check if there's anybody in said sailboat? I've never actually been on a sailboat. Oh, not true. There was one parked at Port Stanley where you could walk on and see an old sailboat, an old sail schooner. I don't know if it's the same. It's going to fall asleep. Corbin's falling asleep. Random yellow, there it is. Get out here. Tie it up and drag the boat back to the dock, or to the harbor, I'm sorry. We got more. Bob, his partner, used a 3-pronged hook and it wrapped around the railing. Bob gave the thumbs up. Like that. The intensity of this story. It's more enticing and intense because it takes our good friend Dan a moment to type. Dad engaged the motor and tore the living hell off this guy's sailboat. Oh no. Oh no. It's just would it rip off all the railing? Oh, for heaven's sakes. Just leave it in the water. That's too dark. That's brutal. Imagine being that guy. I went to get my brother to help me flip it. Oh man, rescue. It's a true story. That's a brutal story. Oh my gosh. Imagine coming back to your boat and finding it just pulled to pieces. That would be disappointing. We were up north with kids, and we were at this camp, this big old camp up there, and one of the kids worked at for a couple summers. And while we're there, everybody went canoeing, and we broke up into different canoes. And in the course of doing so, two of the kids flipped their canoe, and I kicked into dad mode, and I asked, my one son, who just turned 25, have you got this boat? And he said, yep. So I just stood up and pogoed into the water to come and rescue the siblings, because the youngest was, really upset and panicky. So in I went, and in the course of that, losing my glasses, losing, what change was in my pocket, etc., and got him, hoisted him up into the canoe. First I flipped the canoe myself, then I hoisted him up into it, and I pushed the boat, half full of water boat, by pushing it and paddling to, swimming to the shore. And we got him out, and he said, forget it, I'm not getting back in a boat. So he walked, a good click and a half to where the dock was, along the side of a country road. And he just took it. So his one sibling went with him. And so I'm like, I rented this boat, I got to get it back. And so I drag it up onto whoever this person's dock was, empty it, and then put it back in the water. And thankfully the paddles didn't disappear, like they floated on the surface. So I grabbed the one paddle, and I grabbed both paddles, but I paddled it back to shore by myself. I'd had those glasses for 2 days when I did that. And cool, I feel like good, because I, was there for our kids. But, and my other son, he got his canoe back easy squeezy ahead of me. But by the time I was heading back to the place that we'd rented them from, the wind had changed, and it had really kicked up, and oh boy, what a chore it was to get that sucker back in. And then when I found out, when I got there, they have this understanding with all the local cottages, that I could have just left the boat there and joined my other kid back in the boat and just paddled leisurely with him, and they would have come and got the canoe later. And I'm like, now you tell me. Thanks, guys. That was the worst. Ooh, man. Yeah. Didn't rip the boat apart, though. So I'm just putting a car in the foreground. Some elements in that, just to sort of fully round out the first panel. As these two officers are saying, hey, you know who's on the case here? Things dads do for the family. Yo-yo. Glasses, that's expensive, but not as expensive as if I'd had my phone on me, or a bunch of ways it could have been worse, and it could have been really bad and had the kids get hurt instead of just having flipped their boat for whatever reason. And it's because the youngest was anxious and stood up and was arguing with his older sibling about, I know how to paddle. He didn't. But everybody's okay. Story for the ages. So we're putting this other vehicle in now in the background. Putting some of these reflections in the front window. Boom, 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 boom. Just sort of make sure that when you're drawing a scene where you got the front window of a vehicle, try to, if you can, and you don't need any focus drawn to the interior of said vehicle, try to draw the reflections of the environment around it. Just gives it that little, hey now, what now? Which is an official term. Let's put in this car here, driving towards them. I don't know if normally you can tell, but Corbin can't sit still because this is what I'm talking about. It's the whole, having played drums, is that I cannot stop playing along with the bass drum or whatever music I listen to while I'm drawing, and so my poor cat bobs up and down. But I think that's why he sits with me, because he's like that. Give me some exercise, fat boy. A nice thing to say, Corbin. So as opposed to laying out a page like we did the last couple of days, or talking about the entirety of a composition, I just thought I'd spend some time today shaking it up and laying in a complete image, at least for the first panel. I'd like to shake it up for folks, and in that way, you know, somebody that might not get anything out of the first day will get something out of the second. Let's put some of these values in on the car behind now. Give that some shape. Just build things up. Allow yourself to take some time as you're doing it. Is that yellow? No. Let's come back in. Some shadow under this car. We're almost through it there, Corbin. Just gotta keep your noggin out of the way for one more minute, bud. And then I'll switch over that panel, and you can do whatever you want over here. add a little bit more on the side here to the side of the image. So we got a relatively straight line down here. And then if I come back. There we go. What do you think? Yeah. Okay, so here's our two introducing characters, and we've put them in a context here with the city streets around them. And then we've got the opportunity now to bring in or we can focus more on their conversation. Because one thing about story, and depending on the different modes that we approach it by, is it allows us to explore avenues and possibilities that we might not if we just lean into one storytelling type. I'll hold this up, dump everything as I do it. Here we go. So there's our two cops leaning against the car, cars driving by, Corbin smacking his face on the drawing, stop it. Okay, so there's our first panel of our two police officers, not the most active, but talking about you here, so-and-so and so-and-so's on this case. Oh yeah? Swipe. Get it? Swipe. Okay, so, well, let's focus in on the one that have the second officer say, "Here they come." Why not? And then I think that'll probably take up our time today. But, so we'll put, I don't know how we're going to see this for a moment, but we'll put in some of these details in the face. So I'm just putting the highlight points for the dark value. I'll hold this up. So rather than drawing, there we go, you can see it now. There's the nose and the sides of the mouth and this little groove that happens here around our mouth. I'm not sure what it's called, sorry. As I'm drawing the face, I'm not drawing complete lines. I'm drawing these little points, these little anchor points. Like here's a divot in the chin. What do you call that when people have those? I can't remember, but it's not freckles, it's something else. It doesn't matter. Dimples. It's dimples. So you got a little dimple in the cheek there, but when we come in with our colors, with our pencils here, that's where we'll pull these different details and color shapes out. So we want to direct the eye towards the viewer, as though to inform the viewer, here they come. And now we get to introduce them next. Excuse me. What do you think, Corbin? You want to take over? What am I missing? Hello! Hello, Riri. It has a sepia tone film stock look. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. What do you think of that, Corbin? Is that okay? That meets Corbin's approval. I can't move the camera to show you. It's a goofball. You know what I should have done is drew this higher up so that I could have this character put their phone down. I should have thought that through. Okay, so now that I put the color in, it'll pull that face up. And we get those little highlight points in here. I think that ear needs to be a little taller. There we go. Let's come in with the white. I missed it. What are you drawing on? This is a brared off piece of paper from when you're doing jelly plating. That is the surface. And like this. No, it's not one. Well, I don't know why I put the other one. But when you roll off your brayer on a piece of paper as you're trying to do some jelly plating, you get these layers of soft acrylic lines or shapes. And they're fantastic for drawing on. There you go. It's starting to come in. So yeah, so you can take something like a brared out piece of paper and save it, and then use that for a base for a composition later. That's what Corbin told me, didn't you? It's a deeper brown. There we go. There we go. I'll hold it up. But you're not going to. So now we've got the second character in the second panel. Sorry for the washout light. But there's a second character, or the second panel has the second of the two officers. He says, yeah, here they come. Sorry, Corbin. You all right? Don't climb on top. You going? And that's it for Corbin, folks. So bearing in mind, whatever compositions we're drawing, like there's spaces in here, excuse me, great places for balloons to go. But the composition serves the storytelling. So we're not overly worried about, oh, I don't want to cover up my art. It's just one half of the storytelling that you're doing. So cover your art up. Switch to the big cup. Okay, so we get this hat in here. And then here's the badge, name tag, and then this raised arm. Put the shoulder, well, I guess it's another badge on there so that we can showcase the little details that it gives us about the persons in a precinct. Each of us have a single badge on their costume, uniform, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. So we'll start putting that police badge in. Start adding this outline around the badge there. And we'll put a little white on the name tag. Just simple little details, right? So yeah, so if you've got brayer off paper, if you've tried jelly plating, even if you don't, if you have a roller and sheets of cardstock, that's what I use anyways, go over it and just very lightly roll over some values. Let them dry as you do, and then come back in after the fact, and then use those for surfaces to do other drawings on. This smart aleck of an officer, there they come. So it's going to be fun to try to figure out what to make the officers look like. If they're officers that keep appearing in all these different happenstance and sequential books, should they look haggard? Should they look, like the super caps or the very official types? I get to think that up now. It's exciting. So, and whatever, if anybody else wants to try this idea for today, please do. I'd love to see it. I think that whatever you come up with is going to be wholly separate from whatever I do. So I'm very lightly applying this value down. Prismacolors and Laurentian pencils are, because they're soft, they very allowing in a scenario like this to put pigment down without tons of pressure. Got the hat coming in. Excuse me. And I'll hold this up in just a sec. Here's a thought. When they're police officers, they have like an extra badge on their hats, right? When they're foot patrol people, regular, police, anyways, whatever the term is. And Yet, when they become detectives, they only carry the one on in their wallet or in their belt or whatever that is. It's almost like you get an extra one when you're a police officer because you got the one that's on your chest and you got the one that's on your hat. Maybe I'm just a goofball right now, but and these are deep thoughts with Runcie Man. All right, we'll get that in. Now, ooh, excellent idea. You feeling any better? I am. It's just, excuse me. It's just breaking through now. My voice is coming back, and I've had the mic jacked for the last so many days so that you could hear me at all. My voice is back. It's just now my throat is breaking up and getting rid of all the stuff that's made me feel like junk. It's a process. So I'm coming in with that deeper value over top. Give some nice contrast in the costume. We wouldn't have seen the blue though if we hadn't put that nice light blue down first. Just like we have the differences over here, right? See how deep it goes when we don't. Line in there for the color. Not let me. Okay, that's fine. Fine. It's fine. I don't have to. And we get the badge on. Now, I've let some of the brown peek through in spots, and the badge is a really great example of it. And the reason that I do that is, one, because it gives a little bit of complexity to our image, but two, it allows the off tone, the shadow, sort of peek through. For your information, you don't get to keep your badge when you retire. I think you get a copy. Oh, wow. Kind of like managers in an office get their own little cubicles. They don't have to talk to anybody, even though they're the manager. Okay, so here we go. Here's where we are. So here's our first two panels started in. Now I'll just do more of the boring environment in the background of this person. And then we're going to cut camera angles to where the two generic every story cops are going to walk up. And I mean, generally you see an awful lot of them where it's one larger set person and one smaller set person. I don't know if I'm going to do it that way. I think that I think I might try something different. Okay, so the paper that I'm using, there's a phthalocyanine green. There's a sepia tone right here. And over that is rolled a sort of royal purple. And I think that there is a pumpkin orange in there as well, and different layers. Okay, so that's the four values. If anybody wants to write those down, I can write it on a piece of paper if you want to try to replicate these values. Excuse me. And that'll be a pumpkin orange and a sepia. Yep, it's that kind of day. Well, we're going to go with this. A sepia, or a sort of a earth tone. And then there's a royal purple. And what was the fourth one? Maybe that's a deep, no, that's the purple, moving over top. And an emerald green, or emerald, or what's called phthalocyanine green. That's just the chemical composition of it. So that's the 4 underlying paint values. And then on top of that, this is the range of colors. And if anybody wants to do a free screen and pick, because I'm not writing all these down. Now I've got 2 whites. There's a hard white pencil that doesn't transfer value very well, as opposed to these Laurentians and Premier Prismacolors that do. And I think there's a couple silly Crayola colors in there, but you can see the Prismacolor here, and you can see the Laurentian here, and then of course there's a couple little silly Crayolas, but it's just sufficient. There's a Barrel. Oh, Barrel's a producer of the Prismacolor. So these are the values that I've used, and I've just drawn on this with a green paper mate, and the cardstock is a gray, like a light gray. If anybody wants to try to replicate some of these values, Paul says, pumpkin. Hey, I got to show you something, Paul. Lori got me this. It's a cool cup shaped like a pumpkin that I can drink my daily pumpkin spice decaf tea. Can't tell you how much tea I've drank this last week and a half. So, and then I got my supersize cup. Supersize with agua. So there's the different bits of pencil crayon, and then here's let me see if you know what I can do for you. Yes, I can do this. Let's see if anybody's got a color or a number. There's 314. No, that's a non-photo blue. 919. That's a 910 for the Prismacolors. Here's a Laurentian navy blue. This is a sand color from Crayola. And this is a white. And this is a dark brown, kind of like an umber. There's a taupe. If you ever wonder what taupe was, it's like a light brown. Autumn, I guess. Okay, or salmon. I think it's a salmon color, it says. Salomon. And cherry red. There's a Prismacolor gray. Gris Freud. And a really skylight blue. A 70% color gray, skylight blue light. So there we go. So there's the colors. And when you get that little texture going on the paper, I'll hold it up one more time. So this is where, see the little granulation that's happening there? That's in the paper. There's that granular aspect because of rolling and rolling and rolling of the different paints. As you're doing your jelly plating over here, you're making your jelly or your Brayer Offs over there. And the Brayer Offs are great for working on top of. So that's, anyway, so that's the start of our today's page. What kind of tea? Read something today that said 3.5 cups of green tea a day does something good to your brain. Who drinks that much, though? I drink that much. I don't know what's done to my brain. Hopefully it's good. Today's suggestion is 2 hipster cops that appear across different comics or different stories. So here's these 2 officers leaning against a car, talking about these 2 bozos, and they say, shh, here they come. So that's as far as we got for today. I'll get the rest of it finished off and presented for Monday so everybody can see it. In the meantime, I'll be doing a couple of more pages. I have got actually 11 pages that I'm going to be putting up on Patreon for our weekend pages here. I've got a backlog that I just simply haven't sat down and posted them up because I just didn't want to inundate the Patreon people. But honestly, I talked to one of them and they're like, that's kind of why we got Patreon, not just to support you, but so we could see the extras. And I'm like, okay, well then I'm going to be posting a boatload of Patreon pages this weekend. And I've shown some of them on Photoshop. See if I've got any I could just pop on quick for you. It's tricky. Here's one. This is Those in Control. Now, I accidentally posted this to the interwebs, but that's one. And what was the last one? Oh, here it is. This is the last one I just put up. Let's talk about doodling. So this is the pages, the one-page pieces. That's why you see my numbers switch over the weekend and add extra numbers that you don't see the pages of, because I put them all on Patreon. So there we go. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. If there's any questions about, there's all kinds of ideas that I tried to express about how I go about drawing something like this, and talk about pressure for the marks that we're making and the application changes that you can have because you're using, a different surface to draw on than just traditional paper. Even though you're working traditionally, you're working in still in a kind of a modified surface to start off with. It's no different than when you'll see me put down, Post-its or tape or whatever on a surface and draw over top of that. And I do that because it gives you all kinds of different surface textures and surface layers and values of the paper or the tapes that can peek through, like different colors that like blue tape or green tape might pop through in your image. So try anything, is my point. Have fun exploring and playing. And if you've got some time this weekend, allow yourself a moment to do that. And again, immediately let go of yourself thinking that it has to have some fancy refined finish. It doesn't. It simply doesn't. It's really just what what you're discovering along the way. And it sort of gives you all kinds of avenues to pursue your work in ways that you might not have tried otherwise. Even when you're working digitally, use layers and use filters. And but if you find different zipatone textures on the interweb and apply those into your Photoshop program so that you can lay those on as subsequent layers, similar like what you would do with color, you can even color those zipatones. And so as you lay those through your composition, now you've got screens of value, and that is fun in the sun. So that's about it for me. I think I'm going to give my voice a rest, but thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you for all the encouragement and support in the last couple of weeks of my dealing with this pneumonia. And that's about it. I think I'll be back Monday at 2 o'clock. And depending on what's going on, maybe I'll stop and say hi to Mr. Paul Pate as he does his stream in the morning, Saturday morning comics. Check out Paul's stream if you get the chance to. Also, thank you everybody for the birthday wishes. That was very nice of you, for those of you that figured it out. That's it for me. Bye for now. I'll definitely see you Monday at 2. Take care, everyone. The drawing